What's up guys, today we're back with another video and we're going to be reacting to Planet Dolan.
Planet Dolan. From seeing shadow creatures to being attacked by a stuffed monkey, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the scariest things we ever experienced as kids. My name is Nixium, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Rockstar Rocks. So when Danger Dolan was little, he told me that he was scared of monsters that would come out of the darkest corners of the bedroom, the dark corners that his little nightlight just couldn't reach. So one night his mother told him that when he falls asleep, that's when the monsters would come out, but his stuffed animals would also come alive. She said that they would always fight the monsters until he would wake up. That made it much easier for Dolan to sleep, although he was still scared that one day they might fail. Number 9 was submitted by Lord Bite Me Man. Without a doubt, the scariest thing that Pringle dealt with as a kid were waking nightmares. He always suffered from these very intense, vivid nightmares, but he used to have them while he was awake. They would take inspiration from the surroundings and produce dream-like logic to create the most horrific visions imaginable. The worst was a crocodilian creature that tried to climb into Pringle's bed using a bone ladder that he summoned at will. Now, he outgrew this childish phase before he was 6, and he was glad to never have that happen again. But his vivid nightmares continued, and they even reached new heights. Number 8 was submitted by MDNDBB. When Melissa was at her best friend's sleepover, her best friend said that her attic was haunted. So one sleepover they put on their brave faces and they went to check it out. When they got there, they saw a mysterious black figure dash near the door and a white orb fly by. That was the last time that Melissa ever went to her best friend's house. Number 7 was submitted by Crazy Cat 697. Back when Ghost Host was 9, something happened to him that was so terrifying that he peed himself. It all started one night at his dad's place, which happened to be in the woods. That night, Ghost Host was unable to sleep because of a strange tap on the glass. So he laid there listening awake on an airbed in the living room. Suddenly, his dad's outdoor cats began to paw at the door. Ghost Host went to check out the poor cats, but instead of cats, he saw a pale-faced being, his face covered with dry...
You guys see that? Holy crap! What is this? You see that? Is it just me or is she looking up here? Hey, you're more scared of me than what the freak? That thing? Whoa. Soon I will kill you.
Eyed human blood and shark-like teeth that glistened in the moonlight. Ghost Host cried out for his father, but all that escaped from his mouth were gags as if he was being choked. He now had 2 decisions to make. Either stay and die, or run to a window-free room like the bathroom. Ghost Host chose the bathroom, and he ran towards it. He locked the door behind him, and he curled up against the door until morning. But when he awoke, the pale-faced being was nowhere to be found. Number 6 was submitted by Spring Cat. When Honeybits was 6 years old, her Her family lived in a house that had 3 floors. They also lived with another family, but the father just creeped her out. One day while she was standing outside on the 2nd floor looking at the trees, the father from the other family grabbed Honey Bits and was about to drop her from the 2nd floor, which could have easily killed her, but that is until she started to scream bloody murder. Her screams made every member of their families look at him, so he put Honey Bits down. But the part that scared her the most was when she saw the look on his face when he was about to drop her. It was devoid of any emotion. Number 5 was submitted by Crazy Cat 697 when Emoji was only 6 and her sister was 4. They were at their father's for the weekend. Emoji's sister was laying on the couch, while Emoji was laying on an airbed. Emoji asked their father if he could turn the light off. Once he was asleep, Emoji and her sister sat awake, smiling and giggling, until a loud bang was heard on some glass. They slowly looked out the window, but nothing appeared to be wrong, until it came. The beast had red eyes, long black hair, a black turtleneck sweater, and a white face with blood in its hair. He banged on their window, his red eyes glaring at them. Emoji's sister screamed as Emoji ran around, locking up the house to keep whatever it was out. Number 4 was submitted by KD Bryson. Back when Gooby was little, she was frequently visited by shadow creatures. These weren't friendly, and they had a habit of possessing one of her teddy bears, as well as a doll that belonged to her mother. Gooby would often lay awake at night with the overwhelming knowledge that she was being watched. Eventually, her parents tried having the house blessed, and that very night, something made her mother violently ill. To this day, the shadow creatures remain in Gooby's house. Number 3 was submitted by Bacon Bits 26. When Slapped Ham was about 5 or 6, he always slept with a nightlight. Also, his baby sister's monitor was in his parents' room, right next to his. One night, Slapped Ham was asleep and had woken up for some reason. He realized that his cheap nightlight had died, and he immediately got really scared. He went to his parents' room, but then heard the sound of whispering from behind him. He spun around, and he saw his sister's baby monitor on his bedside table. He knew that he had not put it in there, so he went into his sister's room to make sure that she was okay. He found her father there, standing over her crib, whispering in her ear and holding her mouth shut with his hand. When Slapped Ham called his name, he looked over and said, "Shh." Slapped Ham then went into his parents' room, only to find both of them laying in their bed, sleeping. He realized that the man in his sister's bedroom was not her dad, so he went back to find him, but his sister was gone. Slapped Ham woke up his parents and they immediately called the police. The police ended up finding this man in their basement where he had hidden with Slapped Ham's sister. Luckily, she was okay. The police also discovered that he had been living in their basement ceiling, and they discovered clothes, a sleeping bag, a backpack, and knives.
Guys, I'm going to my room. I just heard like a very loud bang downstairs in my basement. That was my dad.
Confessed that he was planning to use the knives to murder the family while they slept. Number 2 was submitted by brother was 5 or 6, he had a stuffed monkey. Every night, it would sneak up right beside him and attack him. The monkey would not let him leave his bedroom or even get out of bed. Dolan's brother even thought it may have just been a dream, but it happened every night. One time, he left his room to grab some water, came back, and the monkey knocked the cup over and the water spilled all over his alarm clock. This went on for 5 months until his mother and his stepfather had had enough of his complaining. His mother took the stuffed monkey, went somewhere else in the apartment complex, and got rid of it. And finally, number 1 was submitted by me. I remember back when I was a kid, I was sitting in my bedroom around midnight watching YouTube videos when suddenly I heard something in my kitchen. I remember that I immediately freaked out because my parents had left 3 days ago to go visit my grandparents for an entire week, and my sister was staying at a friend's house. I grabbed one of my knives and I walked into my kitchen to find it empty. I searched my parents' room and the rest of the house, yet I didn't find any signs of anyone. I was still a bit freaked out, but slowly I began to calm down. I went back to my room, I closed the door, I locked it for safety's sake, and right when I was about to sit back down on my chair, I heard these 3 incredibly loud knocks on my bedroom door. So loud I thought the door was going to break. I just froze, holding that knife, and I stared at that door. I don't know how long I stood there waiting to see if something would happen. But one thing was certain. I was so happy when my parents got home, and I never felt comfortable alone in that house ever again. Alright, so a huge thanks to the folks over at Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. But now we have another question for you. What is the scariest thing you have ever experienced while home alone? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. And that's it, everyone. See ya.
Well, what Shima did to cheat on her test, the cheeky little cat she is, was to write the answers on her thigh so that the teacher wouldn't be able to do anything, even if he noticed she was looking at her own thigh quite often. He would come off as a creep if he were to ask her to.
Okay, well, guys, that's gonna be it for today. I'll see you in the next video.